What's going on, y'all? Ray here with Second Chance Rising, the channel where it's more than just music but the ministry as well. And this week we're talking about, should we introduce God to our children? Now, you know, of course, I think we should, but not everyone thinks like me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. So I've got a story for you this week, a little bit different than the stories from the previous weeks. They're not a funny story, but a real story. Got a friend of mine that actually runs a Christian daycare, and she was telling a story about a mother coming by with her child to examine the conditions of the daycare, just like any good parent or mother should do. As she's giving them the tour of the daycare, she explains to them they eat lunch at a certain time, and they actually say the blessing and say grace, and they may even have a parable from the Bible before nap time. The mother immediately stops and she says, "This is not the place for my child. I don't want my child brainwashed into believing some fairy tale God." You know, you have to think, what's happened to that mother that's turned her so against Christianity and God? Has she been abused in the church? Has she been mistreated by people that call themselves Christians that didn't show that love and that kindness like Jesus asked us to do? Maybe she's been judged and judged and judged instead of trying to be helped. Maybe she's grown up in a home like she's raising her child in that's been never exposed to God. And she doesn't even know what the scripture teaches. She just knows what she's been told that she can't do. You know, I don't know what that mother's reasoning is, but I do know this, that Satan is attacking our children, and we need to do everything we can to be the best example we can, not only to our children and grandchildren, but our friends' children and grandchildren, and to their parents. You know, some of the things that they're missing is going all the way back to the very beginning in the Exodus, in the Ten Commandments. Honor thy father and thy mother. You know, teaching them yes, sir, and no, ma'am. You know, I've got several friends and family members that are teachers and principals in school, and one of them was telling me just a few weeks ago that third grade, a child is already giving teachers the one-finger salute and cussing at them. When the teacher calls home, get more of the same from the parents. So they're just repeating of how they're raised and what their parents are saying. And from what I understand, I hadn't verified this, but they can't even expel the young child because of his age. They have to kind of deal with it. You know, I think of many things that a child is missing when they're not brought up in a Christian home or they're not exposed to God. And I think about 1 Corinthians in chapter 13, where we're talking about love is patient and kind. And even in verse 13, faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. You know another scripture that this reminds me of is Matthew 22, when the Pharisees and Sadducees are trying to trick Jesus, trying to fool Jesus, and asking him all these questions about the commandments. Just like the world is tricking these parents, and these children don't even get an opportunity to be exposed to God. But listen to this, what the Pharisees asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And he answers, you must love your Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. And the second greatest commandment is to love thy neighbor as yourself. What wonderful scriptures to teach a young child. You know, I'm not even sure if most parents even realize what their child is missing, not being introduced to God or the scripture. There's certainly nothing in scripture that's going to lead that child astray to a life of destruction, or being disrespectful, or to a life of drug abuse. You know, if you know a parent that needs to hear this, I hope that you'll share this video with them. I wouldn't put much pressure on them, but maybe they'll want to open up, you know, some respectful dialogue and ask some questions. You know, in the meantime, we have to remember to be the best examples of Christ that we can be, not only to their children, but to them too. Be non-judgmental, but be kind, patient. Hope that y'all have a great week. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. God bless you, and keep looking up.